What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with an update on Action Figure Authority or Collectible Grading Authority. They finally have their online order submission available on their website, and I wanted to kind of briefly show you what's going on with it. My first impression is it's cumbersome, but progress, not perfection. Okay, so hopefully things will continue to improve in terms of the interface over at AFA's website for new submissions for grading action figures. So I wanted to kind of just show you what's available, at least right now, where I think they could improve, and show you some of the other features, and hopefully they'll be adding more features as they build out the website and kind of the service offering on their website. So if you go to cgagrading.com, this is kind of the main start page. Now, before you submit anything, you will of course need to set up an account, and it's really easy to do, just like any other website. You can put your contact information in there, your address and email and all that good stuff. So once you do all that and log in, then you are able to start making online submissions. And as you can see here, you can click on that in order to take you to their online submission. And so this is, once you click on that, this is where it takes you. And I thought I'd do two examples just to show you kind of the interface and how it works. And first we do a modern item, and then we'll do a vintage Kenner item. And then I wanted to show you kind of the, where I think they could improve and things like that. So, I thought for this one, I would just type in Slave Leia and see what happens. And the biggest problem with the way AFA has their website set up right now is that if you type in Slave Leia, it'll pull up anything and everything that AFA has graded in the past that has a name. And so it's not like you can search by Vintage Collection Slave Leia. You can search by Vintage Collection, or you can search by Slave Leia, but it's not particularly easy to do. So when you when you type in Slave Leia and hit search, it pulls up 596 possible matches. So there needs to be some improvement, I think, in terms of being able to drill down quickly. But in all fairness, it does, it's fairly easy to navigate it once you do. So for example, you got the 6-inch Black Series, you got the Vintage Collection Proof card, which were STCC giveaways, Vintage Collection Proof, Vintage Collection, and for the Vintage Collection, there's the North-South American card, there's a Revenge logo, there's a Return logo so they've got every single iteration out there. And I wanted to at least kind of just show you, for example, let's say you had a Revenge logo Vintage Collection Princess Leia Inner Slave Outfit. So you click on that, and that's when it pulls up this interface saying, enter the quantity and values. So for this example, let's say we've got one, let's say the estimated value is about $400. And then these options come up where you can say, okay, archival grading is one option, where it gives you the archival case. That would be $70. If you wanted to add, that includes the UV upgrade. But if you wanted to add 3-tier grading to it, that's another $10, which we all know and love. Now that's for their fastest grading turnaround time. And when they announced the new online submissions, they said that right now they're running about 30 to 45 days. So really quick right now, especially since they're no longer doing loose grading as of the making of this video. But more on that towards the end of the video. But anyway, you can clean the item. You can get a grading summary for each item. You got the 3-tier grading. Now, if you don't want to go the archival tier, which is their fastest tier, you can go Premium 1. And Premium 1 would just be the standard 1 through 10 modern grading with the classic label style, or you can get the Clearview label, which is up top. We've talked about the difference in the past. The classic is inside the case at the bottom of the the acrylic case, or the Clearview, which is up top. So it allows you to make all of those options. And the UV grading, the cleaning the item, the 3-tier scale, which I think is important for those of us like me who have sent stuff to AFA that's modern, but you want the 3-tier grading, not the 1 through 10 modern grading scale. So that the prices, from what I can tell, have not changed. $45 for standard modern grading, or $55 for the 3-tier grading, and that's just standard cases, not the UV upgrade. And then once you click on what you want and the label style, then you just hit add to submission and so forth. So fairly straightforward, pretty easy to do. And I also wanted to show you, for example, let's say you had a mint on card Kenner Boba Fett, example. So a vintage Kenner Boba Fett. And the problem, again, there's 897 possible matches, and it pulls up anything where it says Kenner and Boba Fett, including Poppies, Funko Pops. So, you know, and there's baggies, there's ESB cards, there's Kubricks. I mean, so there's lots of different things that pop up when you type in Kenner Boba Fett. And again, maybe I'm doing it wrong. I'm certainly not the most technologically savvy, but I do think that they could, you know, stand to have some, you know, some ability to drill down when you have a certain item. But let's say you've got a 65 back A Return of the Jedi mint on card Boba Fett. Again, it pulls up, let's say the value, which is, you know, let's call it roughly $3,000. It's automatically going to take you to some of the more expensive, you know, options. And obviously, the vintage items are much more expensive to grade than the modern items at AFA. The premium one level is $90. But you probably want to get an archival case for something like a vintage mint on card Boba Fett, and the price starts at $125. So again, the prices haven't changed from what I can tell. They're pretty much the same from what they were. As you guys remember, I submitted a 45 back Star Wars display arena Luke Skywalker in his Hoth battle gear, and that's what it cost me. It cost me $125 for archival grading, so the upgraded case. So again, nothing has really changed, although you can add the grading summary and cleaning each item if you want to. So that's kind of the basic interface for, at least right now, for submitting to AFA. But I wanted to show you Collector Archive Services process and where I think AFA needs to go. So, you know, you can search by collectible line, by type, and I think this is the big thing that would allow AFA's interface to improve. You could just go boxed items, carded items, customs, bootleg, baggies. All of those search criteria are available on CAS's website, along with the name, manufacturer, year, and allows you to drill down really quickly. And the other thing I like about CAS is that it pulls up photos of past submissions. So if you don't, maybe you don't know what you have, maybe you're kind of new to the whole Star Wars game or whatever it is you're collecting, and you'd like to see a photo of it so you can compare it to what you have in your hands. Well, Collector Archive Services at least allows for that, for past items that they've graded. Now, if you have an item that you haven't graded yet, then that's when you can just click on New Item, have a collectible we haven't graded yet. So CAS, in my mind, still makes it so much easier to submit online than the current interface for AFA. But I would say just be patient. For those of you that only use AFA, just be patient. I think that at least now you have online submissions and tracking, and you know, it lets you know when stuff's getting done. And it also now, supposedly, they will give you the grades for the item before they even ship it back to you. My guess is they probably will never add photos the way CAS does. So there's some advantages to using CAS. Obviously, there's some advantages to using AFA with the brand name and resale values and things like that. I also wanted to quickly show you that over at cgagrading.com, they now do have serial number verification back on the website. Population reports are not available yet. So, for example, I pulled up my Toxic Limbs Bossk. So here's my Toxic Limbs Bossk that you know, you guys have already seen on the channel many times. This is the POC, Spanish POC, very rare and, you know, very, you know, one of my holy grails in my collection. So I pulled the serial number off of that. I just wanted to see how it would work. So I put in the serial number for my Toxic Limbs Bossk, and it shows you the serial number, the date graded, the grade, the year, the company, and in this case, they put Kenner PvP, which we've all talked about, and I said it really shouldn't say that, but it's really a POC, a Kenner/POC is what I would call it. Star Wars loose action figure name, and then the variation, obviously the light green skin Toxic Limbs. So that's what's available right now on AFA's website. But they did say in their press release last week that they are going to be adding population reports back to the website. And I'm curious to see how accurate they are, because it seems like AFA's kind of let that slide. And I don't know how they're going to actually be able to call, you know, all the different information that they have and how they've changed the labels. You know, some Walrus men are labeled Meccano PvP, some of them are labeled, you know, Kenner/PvP, and some of them don't say PvP at all from the really old cases. So what's really the population for those PvP Walrus men with the light green heads? You know, that's just an example. I found 3 different labels over the last couple of months on AFA on eBay for different PvP light green head Walrus men, and they all had different labels. And my guess is that the population report will be based only on the label. It won't be, you know, the fact that it won't take into account that AFA has changed the labeling on some of these figures over the years. So I don't think it's going to be exact, is my guess, but at least it's better than nothing. And so, again, it's not available yet on their website, but in theory, it's coming. And so at least right now, you can at least look up the serial number verification. So if you find something on eBay that you want to buy that's at auction and you want to verify that, it's not a fake AFA item, so to speak, you can type in the serial number and it'll at least pop up and let you know when it was graded and make sure that everything else on here on the AFA website matches what you see in the eBay listing. So that's nice to at least have that back. The final point that I alluded to earlier is that they do still have loose items mentioned on their pricing and tier codes tab. It just says currently closed for AFA loose grading, for mailer boxes, for coins, loose coins, and for other kind of CIB authentication services for like prototypes, for example. And I assume that also includes baggies, because baggies are not available. That would probably fall under mailers. But at least they have this still on the website. So that's a good sign that AFA is, in fact, going to bring back loose action figure grading at some point to their service offerings. And at least right now it's not up, but the fact that they actually bothered to put it on the new interface is a good sign that they're not going to get rid of loose grading, which was my fear. I talked about this when AFA announced that they're suspending loose grading. I said, hey, they may not come back at all. And it looks like hopefully I'm wrong on that. So, but I wanted to point that out, that at least right now, that, the loose grading is currently closed, but it's still on the website. And I don't think they would have bothered doing that if they're not going to bring back loose grading at some point. But at least right now they've got, the grading scale for video games, for VHS tapes, for die-cast, DCA. I don't know what CDA is. Collectible Doll Authority, I think is what that is. And then AFA modern grading and then vintage grading. So it's very easy to navigate. I just think that in terms of searching for your item to be able to add it to your cart, they're going to need to drill down a little bit better the way Collector Archive Services does. I just wanted to at least kind of briefly show you how the current interface works over at AFA's website. And they are taking package submissions right now online. And it's certainly a lot easier than it was. And as I said, progress, not perfection. Hopefully things will get better and easier as they kind of build out the online offerings for new grading submissions. That's all I really had for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.